Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Anything Liverpool. And we've got a bumper show for you today. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly have come back again. So we're going to have a recap on Sunderland. We're gonna have a look at some of the, I think, slightly strange comments from Slot in his press conference, and we are going to have a look forward to Dirty Leeds and what we're going to do. Um, Uh, Looks like Aldridge trying to join us. His camera's not working, but that may not be a bad thing. But we'll let him carry on with that. So before we start, everybody like and subscribe. Tell everybody about the channel. It's the best Liverpool channel on YouTube. Got some great people on here, very passionate and a lot of knowledge. So like and subscribe, and please comment in the chat. We will endeavour to answer your questions as well. So I'm going to talk a bit about, I'll start it off, and we're going to go back to the Sunderland match. So I'm just going back to my notes here, guys. So we're going to go back to the Sunderland match, and I think in my mind, it was a disappointing performance overall. Very flat. The visitor team looked comfortable, and I think we just failed to build on the West Ham performance, but I think that says a lot more about West Ham than it says about us. Okay, so I think it was a disappointing performance. So I'm going to come to you first, Stephen. And first I just want your thoughts on the match, but also specifically as well a stat in 86 minutes that Isak was on the pitch. He only received 5 passes from his teammates. Okay, so I want you to elaborate a bit about the match, what you thought the performance was like. That stat, because Arne Slot has been accusations from last season was that his teams are not number 9 friendly. So is that something that's a thing, or is it just a snapshot in time? So just a bit about the match and that specific thing around Isak. What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
Well, firstly, very lacklustre. There wasn't. We. I just felt like we played with no identity. Again, it just doesn't look like we know what we're doing. Players are confused. Just going back to what we said before the West Ham game, really, the last stream that I was on, I thought we'd lose against West Ham, to be fair, so I'm glad I was wrong on that one. But I actually had us down to lose to West Ham and Sunderland. I think Sunderland are playing really well this season, and I was worried about them going into the game. I didn't really get too excited after the West Ham game because West Ham were awful. Obviously, it was nice for us to get the win, but even against West Ham, I didn't feel we played very well against West Ham either, if I'm being completely honest. So I was a little bit sceptical about the game, and then the first half we were dreadful. Second half we played a little bit better. There was a little bit more urgency, especially after they scored. I don't know what Van Dijk was doing for the goal either. He was doing that twerking thing again that he likes doing lately, kind of backing off with his arse out. I just didn't really understand it, but yeah, just very disappointing in terms of Isak not getting enough passes. I don't think he's doing enough up top to get involved in the game. He still doesn't look fit to me. It still doesn't look 100%. He seems quite lazy. He doesn't press very well. I don't know. There's just a lot of negativity from my side at the moment, so I don't know if I'm the best person to speak to on a few things, but I just felt like Isak, it just doesn't look like he fits the system. Ekatike looks like he fits the system, but Isak just, in my opinion, he looks a little bit lost. Doesn't do the running, doesn't do the pressing, comes across quite lazy. But then equally, he scores that great goal against West Ham. He's got that in the locker. But we're a pressing team, aren't we? That's our identity. That's who we are. That's who we've been for so many years. So I whether he fits the system, I don't know. But it's very negative from my side. People are watching. I just can't see a real positive at the moment.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. So I've got some other specifics I want to talk about, but what I want to do is I just want to ask. Obviously there's a lot of people talking in the chat, so I'm going to come to you guys around that. But Craig, I just want your opinion on the Sunderland game, the performance, the result, and where do you think it sort of leaves us? Where do we stand with that? What's your opinions on Wednesday night, especially the fact that it was at Anfield?
First of all, good evening to you.
Good evening,
Good
Craig.
evening to you. Well, again. On the Sunderland game, to be honest with you, it was like going to the dentist, where you fear going and you come out in pain. It was like pulling teeth. That's one way I can sum it up. I'm not surprised how Sunderland set up and how they played. They're a very well drilled team. They're a very well coached team, and the league table doesn't lie. They're not sixth in the table by fluke. People are forgetting that they held Arsenal to a 2-2 draw. And I predicted that we would go 1-0 down on TikTok the day before the game, even though it was a deflection off Mr. Twerk himself. And the thing is, I'm gonna call him out here because Virgil van Dijk is pissing me off. Because at the end of the day, Mo Salah's coming for a bit of stick, and rightly so. And I'll come on to him later on. And I know he's your favourite, but end of the day, I'm not sugarcoating anything on here now because I'm fed up of it. But Virgil van Dijk, he's the barometer for Liverpool Football Club, and he's been absolutely horrendous this season. And as a captain, it's a disgrace. Now he's doing a lot of talking after the games because he's the captain and he's got to do the interviews. But it's all right coming out and saying, well, this is what we need to do and we'll keep working hard. Shut your mouth, Virgil, and do it on the pitch. Let your game do the talking. But he's not the Virgil van Dijk he was of 2 years ago. I think we've seen the best of Virgil van Dijk now and the best of Mo Salah and Alisson Becker. But the game itself, for the second half, the first 25 minutes, nothing happened. We got to their 18-yard box and we'd not a clue what to do. Instead of just putting the ball in the box in the danger area and seeing what come off it, it was shocking. I mean, Alexander Isak, the Newcastle Football Club must be laughing at Liverpool now for taking 125 million off us. Because I've said it a couple of times now. He can't play with Mo Salah, and I don't care what anybody says. They can't play together. Mo Salah won't pass to Isak and vice versa. Alexander Isak's fit, but he's not match fit. And he shouldn't have started because he told Ernst Slot he'd go down with cramp, and what happened, he did. But for an hour, he was non-existent. We're playing with 10 men, basically, like we are when Mo Salah plays. But Ekatike should have started for me, and he's got to start against Leeds. But Alexander Isak, I mean, Steve just said there, he finished his goal well against West Ham. Well, he should do if he's worth 125 million. That's what you pay a striker for. But it were West Ham, so I didn't get excited about it at all because I expected us to lose. And Sunderland, I expected us to lose that as well. But we came away with a point which we were extremely lucky to, because it's a shame it was a deflection from Florian Wirtz, because great ball from Curtis Jones, Mr. No Pass. And, the little magician from Germany did the business and bang, won a piece. But like he said afterwards when he was interviewed, it doesn't matter. Liverpool's most important and we should be in the top 4. But my honest opinion is, as a Liverpool fan, we've no right looking at the top 4 now because of where we are. We don't deserve to be looking up there. And what's really upsetting me is, I'm angry about it. This is the worst title defence I've seen from any team in the Premier League since '92. It's an absolute disgrace from Liverpool Football Club. And if it was down to me, I know it's the Premier League, so we've no say on it. But if it was down to me, when we play Leeds tomorrow, Liverpool should come on the pitch without the gold lions on the sleeves because they don't deserve to wear that champions badge. Because they're not playing as champions, they're playing as champions. And the red arrows, what we used to have 2 seasons ago under Jurgen Klopp, it's not the red arrows now, it's the red sparrows. Because we've not a clue what we're doing. It's like the whole squad's had a lobotomy. And I agree with what you said about Arne Slot. His back's against the wall now. And I really fear for him. I don't want him to go because there's nobody good enough to come in and take over. I don't want him to go. But if things continue the way they are, it's only going to end one way. But before I'll end on this note, I think there's two other people who have not been called out here, and they should be. And that's Richard Richards and Michael Edwards. Because they'd give Arne Slot £50 million to spend in the summer. And if Arne Slot gets sacked, Richard Hughes should be asking himself, did I give him the right tools to do the job? So basically, from the top of the club to the bottom, everybody's at fault here. Nobody gets away with it because it's unacceptable.
Thanks, Craig. So I'm gonna come to you, Ben, and both you and Aldred, and you can speak around this. But I'm gonna read something from a journalist. I'm gonna read a snippet, and I understand everyone's anger at the players, but players do go in decline. Okay, John Barnes went in decline, but the manager found a role for him in the team. Everybody goes into that level of decline. Sadio Mane lost his zip slightly, and Klopp put him as centre forward, false 9. And how did that work? I'm just saying you've got to find a way. Jurgen Klopp, found a way for everybody to play in his team. Yeah, and he utilised that. From flying fullbacks to inverted through false 9. And this is a snippet I want to read, Ben, and I want your sort of summary on this, what you feel. I feel like this. This is my thoughts. Okay, Sunderland arrived exactly as warned, composed, disciplined, and Liverpool allowed them to feel at home. When a newly promoted side can play with a level of comfort at Anfield, the structure of the home team has collapsed. Liverpool's football had possession without purpose, volume without menace. Wirtz drifted. Gravenberch slowed the game down. Konate had his weekly wobble. Van Dijk defended the goalness with a softness that once would have been unthinkable. When your captain looks unsure, the rot has spread further than tactics. Nothing sums up the deeper issue like the centre forward, Isak, 86 minutes, touched the ball 15 times, received just 5 passes from his teammates. You cannot spend 125 million on a striker and then abandon him in every meaningful phase of play. This is not misfortune or teething problems. It's a sign of the coach with no clear plan for his most potent weapon. The substitution chaos, another indictment. Gakpo deserved to come off, but a simple change should not collapse the entire shape. One switch triggered 3 positional changes and a completely unsettled right side. Elite coaching team should never allow this to happen. What worries me is the performance, is the reaction. Too many shrugged it off as a bad patch. Too many are treating that this will correct itself because the XG says so. And I know you'll have a lot to say about this, Aldred. The manager should have already been replaced. That's what this person's saying. When a team does the easy bits but cannot produce a single passage of convincing football, the issue is not form, it's leadership. Liverpool competed, but the competition was never the aim. The aim is clarity, control, and a level of football that reflects the quality of the squad. Right now, they are laying carpets, but hoping the house builds itself. It won't, and it's time the owners and the architect realise that the site foreman needs to be changed. So that's a powerful statement from a journalist who for the first time is obviously now on we need to change the manager. Now, obviously that's a powerful, well written statement. In my mind, I want to look at the fact that we've gone from heavy metal football, and we understand that Slot wants controlled football. So I'll come to you first, Ben. But we've lost the control. There's nothing. Sideways, slow, lose the ball, kick it out of touch. Ben, what do you think the issues are? And your thoughts on the game against Sunderland as well?
Well, I've been saying for the longest time, I said it when we appointed Slot, that Dutch coaches, they're very boring and they're very stubborn. Look, there's plenty of examples in the Prem. And you only have to look at Man United under Van Gaal to see the exact proof of that, or Ten Hag. Dutch coaches aren't good. Slot won the, and yeah, obviously you can say Slot won the Premier League, but I'd say that that's more down to the team he had, because now he's been given his own tools and we look spineless. Because and like Craig said, this isn't just on Slot. Richard Hughes and Edwards, well, they knew what Slot wanted to do, and they didn't get him the right players. We needed a winger. We spent 120 million on another striker. We needed a midfielder. We didn't get one. Or a defensive midfielder. We didn't get one. We needed a centre back. We only got Leone because we messed around with the Gahey deal, and for some reason didn't do anything else with centre backs. So we kind of messed our own season up by getting the summer wrong. And I said this when everyone was celebrating this summer. Oh, for Liverpool finally acting like a big club. I was saying you're all in for a major truth nuke when this squad doesn't work, because the balance of it was never going to work. Isak and Salah, never going to work. Go on. And a game against Sunderland, I expected us to lose. I'm surprised we didn't. We should have. And the irony of the guy who Slot doesn't like, the guy who Slot.
Yeah.
The guy who's
Yeah. So I'm gonna elaborate on Chiesa in a little bit, and I want everyone's opinion on that, because I think it's quite a sort of emotive topic. But I want to come to Alred, and as you can see, he's like me actually. I do believe in stats. As you can see, his handle stats are shite, or as we say in England, shit. But they do sort of paint a picture around when you want to do analysis. But for me, we've got one of the highest XGs in the league. But for the eye test point of view, I'm sorry, we are terrible. So Alred, just from your perspective as a whole, firstly, the Sunderland performance, and also where are you at with Liverpool Slot and everything, Alred?
Well, first of all, I'm voice of reason, as we all know. So I'm going to give you a couple of corrections here. We had a little dude named Luis Suarez. He was called a flop when he had 8 games and 1 goal in Premier League. And we saw all that, how that happened. Isak has 1 goal and 1 assist in 6 games. So we have to be a little bit more in depth when it comes to history and statistics. In that way, that statistics are shite. But point is, one thing is that Isak and Salah can't work together. But that is a Salah problem. That is not an Isak problem. Isak is a victim of Salah. He's not a product of Salah. Like you said in the start here, Hajid, he got 5 passes from his teammates. And then our homegrown stat man threw up some that he didn't get the ball, or Hugo did a lot more. I mean, and that's my problem with statistics, because the number of touches in an opposing box, the number of passes completed it doesn't really give you anything. I mean, Dr. Jones or Curtis Jones, he can have 100 out of 100 passes, but everyone's backwards to Ali. It looks good on paper, but it doesn't do anything. And that is what is frustrating for me, because people look at XG and say, oh, he doesn't create, but it doesn't matter. It's like you said, Hajit, what's on the facts paper when the game is done. You can't go around and saying we should have or could have scored a goal, or we shouldn't concede this goal. Well, we did. And in the beginning of the season, we were all jumping around, and some people in the chat said, well, you make your own luck when you win the games late on, because it's quality when you do it more than once. Now we've lost more than once. So if you make your own luck, you kind of make your own bad luck as well. And bad luck comes from poor decision making, poor quality, or poor leadership. And we have all those three. Okay. And when I saw that so-called defending from Big the Twerk, Virgil, I got so frustrated, because we were in balance. The two other runners were covered by Konate and Robertson. And when he starts to load the gun to shoot the ball, he sticks his fucking ass out instead of going up in the press. And that is what the problem was, that Slot also had addressed before. If you don't press the guy who has the ball when he has time in the midfield, if you don't press the midfield, they can pinpoint precision passes all over the field. And when you don't press the guy, that's why people who play low block are doing well, because when somebody shoots, like Hugo Ekitike, when he shoots, there's two guys in front of him blocking the ball. We have a captain that sticks out his ass. That's the difference. And that is what the problem is. It's the players who's not doing the job. And just to argue with Ben as well, he says the Dutch are difficult. Well, we have a Portuguese guy in Man United now. He doesn't change. I mean, stubbornness is not a genetic trait. It's something you are. Either you're, I don't know, but stubbornness is one thing, and that can be anybody. So for me, the problem is we can't handle press. And I said when it came to the West Ham game, we won that game, but they didn't want the ball. I think I said it 50 times. They didn't want the ball. All the games we lost before West Ham, they pressed us. Sunderland comes and presses us. What the hell do you think Leeds is going to do?
Yeah, and Aldi, that's a really good point. I'm going to come on to you individually. I think Stephen's camera's gone off there, but some of Arne Slot's comments in the press, I'll speak to you on some individual ones around this, but I want to pick up an Aldridge point. And actually, this is where I understand the players, they have a lot to answer for as well. But I am very annoyed with Virgil, because he tends to do that. He tends to not go in, he tends to sort of drop off. But one of the things is, if you look at it from a perspective, what a team's done. So we haven't done anything differently. I think it's just trying to, with the new players, play the same system consistently. But they've sort of closed down the area where Gravenberch used to get the ball, turn, shift, and start everything. So they've closed that down. They've almost, when Virgil gets the ball, they're on him. So that's crossfield boom to Salah. It's few and far between. And the person they're letting have the ball is Konate. And I think letting the passing channels open for Konate, he might get 1 out of 10. But with Virgil and Gravenberch there, you're going to get a lot more in. And I think tactically, how have we nullified that? And I think he's tried a little bit where Gravenberch said he's been allowed to go forward a bit more. He spoke around it after the Everton game. But then that's emptying the midfield. And I remember Rafa Benitez never thought Steven Gerrard was the perfect midfielder, because he used to empty. He wasn't disciplined, and he emptied the midfield. And that's why Gerrard's best seasons under Rafa were off Torres or on the right wing. and he played his best with Xabi Alonso and Mascherano over there. I think what we're doing is you're letting Gravenberch go, and then who is going to fill that void? People are playing through us like anything, and Sunderland got to the edge of our box so many times. So I agree with that. But fair comments. I think there's a lot to sort out, and I think I'm going to echo what Craig said. I really do like Slot because he comes across as a very decent person. You know, he's not like the other Dutch Ten Hag and some others. I actually think I quite like Amarin at Man United. He's an honest, heart on his sleeve person, and I think Slot is the same. He says it as it is, and he doesn't deserve, I think, what's coming to him. I think the players should hang their heads in shame, some of them, because I think they'll definitely have got him the sack, because I just think it's inevitable. But let's get on to some of Slot snippets from the press conferences. I'm going to come to you, Stephen, about this one first. I want to come to you about Mr. Salah. Now, I'm quite passionate about this. Before I read his sort of comment, I think Salah last season carried us to the title. So I don't know what anybody says. Absolutely carried us to the title. Salah's carried us a lot throughout his time there. And what I don't like is that we're ruining his legacy. I don't like comments of, I'll drop him off at the airport, I'll pay for his air ticket out of it. Mo Salah doesn't deserve that. If Mo Salah on the pitch, if he's not good enough, that's not because he's not trying. That just comes around to every player. Yeah? But then that's up to the manager. To decide, how do I get the best out of Mo Salah? The best out of Mo Salah is he's not on the wing. He can't beat a man anymore. He can't do it. He just hasn't got the sharpness. And his comments are, and this has come out the blue. Has it taken him this long to realise? And then when he sticks him on the wing again. Yeah, why? And it's on Mo Salah not starting in 2 games in a row. Every player is in my mind to start matches because we have so many good players. But that's a lie, because he never does. He only picks the same people. And Mo has been such an exceptional player for us. He's always in my mind to either start or to come on. He's always been in your mind to start until the last 2 matches. He's been so influential for the club and his teammates. I just feel like that's softening the blow for something. But Stephen, what are your thoughts on Mo Salah and the situation and Slot? Has he dropped Mo Salah now because he has to save his job? He's looking for something. What's your thoughts on that?
On his legacy, I think his legacy is being ruined by silly comments. I mean, he's not playing well. That's the reality of it. But some of the comments I really disagree with. This guy is he's a legend of the club, isn't he? He's one of the greatest players we've ever seen play in a Liverpool shirt, and that's just a fact. He's probably one of the greatest ever Premier League players we've ever seen play as well, and I think that's a fact as well. So yeah, it's unfair the stick he's getting. I think we can all agree he's not playing very well at the moment, and he probably did deserve to be benched the last couple of games because he hasn't really done much. I felt again when he came on against Sunderland. I think I was actually going to say something that Jamie Carragher said, and I saw that Sam Allardyce said that was absurd to say. I think Carragher said that it looks like his legs have gone, and Allardyce was quite annoyed by Carragher's comment about that. It does, though, in some ways. I wouldn't say his legs have gone. I just don't think the pace is certainly not there at the moment. Against Sunderland, when he came on, he struggled to get past the first player, didn't he? I think he got past maybe once or twice. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one with Salah. He's not playing well. I think maybe it's a confidence issue. Maybe his head's elsewhere. Maybe they know something we don't. Maybe he knows he's going to be going soon, and maybe there was an understanding with the new contract that maybe they're going to sell him next year with a year left of his contract to get some money for him. We don't know the full extent of everything, do we? We don't know what's going on really there. But at the moment, he's not playing very well. I think he has been benched, and rightly so. I think Slot's been brave with that and bold, and I've admired that Slot has benched him. Because no player's bigger than the club. And if you're not playing well, you've got to be treated fairly like everyone else. If you're not playing well, you've got to be dropped. So I do agree with that. But I agree with you in terms of the comments. I disagree with a lot of the comments. This guy's a legend of the club. But I think maybe experiment with Salah. Maybe play him in a different position. Because I think you're right. I don't think he can play on the wing anymore because he can't beat the first man. So I think maybe experiment him elsewhere. I don't know what that position would be. Maybe the other boys know that. I don't really know from on that side of things. It's sad.
Can I just say something there, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say something?
Of course you can.
When it comes to Salah not beating his defenders, I've always said the reason why he doesn't do it is because it's never 1-on-1. He's always 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 because we don't have an overlap. We don't have any movements around him, like we do with Gakpo and Kirkes and Gakpo and Robbo. There is no movement on the right on the outside who pulls the defenders away.
Aldridge, sorry, can I just say something? That's a really good point. I want to pick up on that. As at the beginning of the season, Salah started well. Who was fullback? Frimpong.
Mm-hmm.
Kept bombing past. Do you remember? Kept against Atletico Madrid. He was brilliant, Salah. That's a really good point, Aldridge. And I think if you look at
it, point. But I Sunderland the other day just from a few one-on-ones that he had with the guy, because there wasn't two on him all the time. Because when I was watching the game, there was a lot of times where if he had beaten the first man, there was a lot of space for Salah to really run at. But he couldn't get past the first man against Sunderland. He did, when he came on, he really struggled. And I was quite surprised by that, because I thought fresh legs, the defender that he was up against might be a little bit tired, a little bit leggy, but Salah just couldn't get past him. And there were so many times, especially towards the end of the game, where Salah, if he had gone past him, there was so much space in behind. But he struggled. He couldn't get past him. So I thought that was a bit of a concern when I watched that. But
yeah, good points. I'm going to come to you, Craig and Ben, on this. I'll come to you first, Craig. So I'm going to the other end of the spectrum here. I'm talking about already a Liverpool living legend. And if you look at his celebration, he's waiting to come on when we scored. Absolutely a bigger celebration than the fans. Federico Chiesa. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is Slot's comments, which I find a bit worrying, actually.
I've watched.
Yeah, so every player has a possibility to start, but we have many options to start in his position. He is having his impact coming off the bench a few times. My God, he saved your job, Slot, yesterday, I thought, on Wednesday. So I want your thoughts on why, with the shower of shite that is Cody Gakpo, who always cuts in, and floats the ball to the back post, and Salah's troubles, is this man not getting a start? What do you think's happening there? And it's pretty obvious he's not going to.
Well, I've said this on more than one occasion.
You said it at the beginning of the season, Greg. That's all I went to. You were the
I've said it on day one.
You did.
Federico Chiesa wasn't an earnest foot signing. He was a Richard Hughes because they got him for £12 million. Now, I Federico Chiesa, I love him to bits because at the end of the day, if you look at his attitude and his temperament, and like you just pointed out there, he was going up and down on the sideline, and he was ready to come on when we got the equaliser against Sunderland. The thing is, if you're teaching a young team at under eights or whatever, you'd use Federico Chiesa as an example of what your attitude should be. How you should present yourself, be it in training or whatever it may be. And just touching on, obviously, the guy we've spoke about there with Mo Salah. Unfortunately, with old Father Time's catching up with him, and he's lost a yard of pace. Now, I'm sorry, but as a Liverpool fan, there's no room for sentiment anymore. And what's proved there's no room for sentiment at Liverpool Football Club is simply this. Jurgen Klopp decided 2 years ago, before he announced he was leaving, that he was going, and he never told anybody. He left Liverpool because he didn't get on with Michael Edwards. And as soon as Jurgen was gone, Michael Edwards was on his way back in. Now, Michael Edwards, as good as he is, and Richard Hughes, they've got to be held accountable for what's happening at the minute. But Federico Chiesa, what more does it? My question is, what more does he have to do to get a start? And it's as clear. This is night and day for me. Federico Chiesa won't start tomorrow. You can guarantee that. He won't. Arne Slot doesn't like him. He might like him as a person, but he's not in his first 11. And he's only you. And the thing is, if you look at the substitutions again, he's taking a defender off and putting a striker on. Right now, if it wasn't for Chiesa on Wednesday night, we'd have lost 2-1, without a doubt. And he was pressed on him. I've watched his press conference this morning. It made me squirm because it looked really uncomfortable. The vultures are circling for Arne Slot. This is obvious for me. And I agree with what Ben said and what Stephen have said and Alred. The thing is, Liverpool have lost their identity as a football team. There's no creativity. There's no passion. There's no press. But it's not, for me, I'm showing my age now, but it's not about the long ball or the short ball. It's about the right ball and the right pass at the right time. And Liverpool can't do any of that. They're making the wrong decision at the wrong time. Like, look at, you said, Ajit there, Virgil was like 10 yards too slow on the press. McAllister's the same in midfield. Look how often he's backing out of tackles. When you pull out of a tackle, you're going to get injured. You're leaving yourself wide open for a spell on the treatment table. So, I mean, for me, Federico Chiesa has to start at Leeds, because I'm telling you now, you're going into the Burr pit tomorrow. Trust me, I've been to Ellen Road. It's an old-fashioned ground. The fans are on top of you. And them lads in lily white, they'll come at you like you've never seen anything like it in your life tomorrow. Federico Chiesa has to start. He gives you something different. He gives you another option. But the thing is, this is what you get when you say you don't want a bigger squad. So Arne Slot he's not doing himself any favours. He's cutting his nose off to spite his face. Yes, he is stubborn. But Ben said he's Dutch, he's stubborn. So does that mean that Gakpo and Van Dijk are stubborn? They're Dutch. So if you're labelling Arne Slot as stubborn, you're labelling everybody who's Dutch stubborn. And you've got to be careful what you wish for. I think, to be fair, Liverpool are on the slide. And if you mentioned earlier on, Ajit, about when the season started, I looked at it yesterday. If we hadn't won them first 5 games, we'd have been 19th in the table now. But let that sink in for a minute. And I know we've had some luck, and like Harold said, you make your own luck, you make your own bad luck. But if we'd have lost them first 5 games, we'd be 19th at table now. But we're playing relegation football anyhow. So, it's every game I watch, it's heads or tails. I don't know what Liverpool team's going to turn up and how we're going to perform. It's not what Arne Slot's doing and who he's selecting. My biggest concern as a fan is how we're playing.
So Craig, sorry, sorry.
Another player comes one person, and that's your manager.
No, sorry, I need to cut across, but no, that's really good points. I just want to get Ben's sort of thoughts on Freddie, and then we're going to go. I'm going to ask Craig a bit about another comment. Then we're going to go into Leeds. But I just want to say, Cody Gakpo's also got another deficiency, other than being stubborn. I think he's got a lazy left eye, because he can't see out of it, and he's not passing to the overlapping run of Keza Robertson. So it's got to be that, hasn't it? But anyway, Ben, Ben, I want to ask you about Feddy. What does the bloke has he slept with Arnie Slot's wife? What does the bloke have to do to start?
What does Cage have to do to start? Kidnap Slot. That's all he can do. Because he's not going to start under Slot. Because Slot's never going to drop Gakpo, and that's where I call those people stubborn. When they make a decision, they stick by it. Slot decided Gakpo is one of his key men, and that's never going to change. And that's why Slot will inevitably be sacked from this job, because he's persisting with the bad players and staying away from the actual good players. Like Chiesa.
Well, a point on that, if you look at it, you said, for him to start, and I'm going to come to you, Aldrin, or something else, but that's a really strange point, because for him to start, Slot has to go. But the one bloke who's kept him in the job more than anything is Chiesa, with his last-minute goals. Bournemouth, Palace almost got a win, and then clearance off the line on Wednesday. So yeah, it's a great point, Ben, and I think everyone's feeling that frustration. Running out of time, so I want to quickly go to you. I'm going to put a comment on here. I want Alred, and before we get into the lead stuff, and then Slot's comment. So let's put this comment in here. But what Slot said was, asked if the top four is now the aim for the season. It's definitely our first aim to come back to the top four, because we're obviously not happy with the position we're in at the moment. It's like Slot's confirmed from Red Rebel. He's confirmed the top four is a minimum this season, which means the club is backing him. And at this point, he's going nowhere. What are your thoughts on that? That cannot be good enough for us this season, can it, Aaron?
I think it was 2 or 3, maybe just before the international break, I said top 4 is the new goal for us this year. So I've been saying that for a long time. We didn't have it when we got into the season, but and I've also said, like Craig kind of mentioned, we are playing relegation football. We have the quality to be something else, but we are playing relegation football. And until we sort that out, we are not going to get anything better than top 4. So I think Slot is gone by January. I think he's gone by the Arsenal game if things doesn't improve. I think they still can improve, but I think the Arsenal game, because after the Arsenal game is 2 weeks before the next Premier League game. So I think he's got up to that. You can't make a change now because of the tight schedule and Christmas and everything. So that will be too disruptive. I don't know. I feel every manager is stubborn. Klopp has his favorite players. We kind of disagreed on that as well. Pep has his favorites. Fergie had his favorites. Every manager has its favorites. They have their key players they tend to every time, even if they're shit or not. United have had now 4, 5, or 6 managers, and then all gone to Bruno. So, for whatever reason, I mean, I think Chiesa, I don't see Chiesa every day, but when you play like you do, when you get the chance, even if 5 minutes or 50 minutes, you do the best. And as a supporter, the only thing I want to see is that you're trying. You have to do your best. One thing, if you're not good enough, that's another issue. But if you're not trying, you can just fuck off. I mean, that's why we love Chiesa. That's why we loved Nunes, because they ran and did everything. Nunes couldn't score if his life was depending on it, but he chose to chase the ball away. He ran everything on everybody. So when you don't have that and you don't use your skills, you're no use to the club. And why the team then changed in second half and only passed the ball to Salah instead of 50-50 on the side? I don't know why they do that, but that's the team or the coach who tells them to do that. So there is a problem in there. The dynamics could work better if it was 50-50 on right and left, but it wasn't. And it's very easy to defend, even if you're Messi or Salah in his prime. As long as you know the ball is coming one place, you put your defense on that side. And you don't give a shit about the other side because there's no need, because the ball ain't going to go there. It's very easy. It's not rocket science, this.
Yeah. No, thanks, Andy. We're going to go into the Leeds. It's really good. And you're so true. You put everybody on that side because we've also got, as you're all going to tell, I don't really like Cody Gakpo, but we've got the hybrid of Konate playing on our left wing. So they're giving him all the space in the world because they know what he's going to do, which is nothing. And I think, we let our best left winger leave the club. So, yeah. So, Stephen, I'm going to come to you. We're going to talk about Leeds. So I want from all of you to come to you first, Stephen. So when I say team prediction, I want you to tell me what team you want to that will play, that should play, and a score prediction. Because in my mind, I think if we don't win, I think Slot's gone. I really do, because I think the pressure. I think he's lost. There's not fans out there who are saying Slot out, okay? But the majority of Liverpool fans don't believe don't believe the manager's got it in him to change it. That's the sort of, and if we lose against, I don't care we're going to Leeds, yeah, I don't care. They're a poor team, yeah, they're going to get relegated. They've got a crap manager, yeah. If we don't go there and win, I think he's in trouble. But anyway, what do you think from a team, selection, shape, and what do you think the result will be, Stephen? Over to you.
They've got a bit of momentum from beating Chelsea at home. So that's going to be on their side, isn't it? And, like Craig was saying, it's a small stadium. The crowd are going to be on top of you. Can we handle the pressure? I don't know. We've got no confidence at the moment. We're lacking intensity. We're lacking momentum. So we have all the ingredients, I think, at the moment to lose, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did. The team that I would want to see, I'd want to see Konate dropped, because I think he's been appalling. But the last time we played Leeds, he made a mistake for their goal last time. So this isn't, with Konate, it's not anything new with him. He's always had that in his locker. He's always been a little bit uneasy. I don't think he's ever been the best on the ball. He's just a unit. And I think that's why they tried to get Guy in the summer, because I think Slot wants a more comfortable centre-back who's better on the ball than Konate is. I think Joe Gomez is much better than Konate on the ball. And if Gomez is fit, which I think he is, drop Konate, put Gomez centre-back with Van Dijk. I think you'll get a much calmer Van Dijk playing alongside Gomez, in my opinion. Robertson should start, I think, over Kirkes. And then if Conor Bradley's fit, have Bradley back in at right back. Alisson in goal. And then I'd have, obviously, just, have Szoboszlai. I can't say his name properly. Szoboszlai, sorry. Gravenberch. I'd start Curtis Jones as well. I'd drop McAllister. Don't think McAllister's playing very well either. He's a bit of a liability in the middle at the moment. And again, I can't believe I'm saying that about McAllister because he was incredible last season. I'd start Chiesa. I'd start Ekitike. And I don't know, maybe Salah, I'm not sure. But I drop Gakpo, 100%. Yeah, I just want to see... I want to see Chiesa really badly in that lineup tomorrow. You know, he's impressed me all season. He's been one of the very few players who was given everything. His attitude is 100%. Even that goal-saving opportunity that he did against Sunderland the other day, you know, the tracking back, the willingness to get back so we wouldn't lose the game, I thought was incredible. And yeah, I agree with Swat. Chiesa has done well coming off the bench this season, but I just give him that start that he deserves. He deserves it. And I just think as well, you know, you start putting Chiesa in the starting line, or you start involving Endo a little bit again in certain moments. Like, you know, sometimes I think it's good to sometimes bring Endo on and you know, just to fill a few gaps, because again, he will mop up. He will pick up those loose second balls. He is very good at that. And I think that's what we've been missing and lacking. So I think if you start getting those kind of players involved again, I think the team morale will get better and will improve as well. Because I think at the moment, I don't think how it's coming across. I just don't think they feel like they're a unit as a team. Like when you had Klopp, everyone was involved. Everyone had their own, you know, things that they were doing. They knew they were all very well drilled. This team, and that's why it comes back to, I think they're just lacking identity at the moment. They don't know what they're doing. The fringe players coming in, they don't know what their roles are. You know, I just think the morale and everything's very disjointed and disconnected at the moment. And I think that's probably been the biggest issue this season. But yeah, that would be my team. My score prediction, I don't know. I mean, I thought we'd lose against West Ham and Sunderland. I don't feel confident at all about tomorrow. I think if Leeds score first, they'll win. I think us getting the first goal is vital, because as soon as Leeds score, you get the crowd on top. Their confidence goes, and then they're screwed. But flipping that over, I'm going to be a little bit more positive, because I've been very negative the last couple of streams. On the flip side of that is, if we do win tomorrow, that's 7 points from 9. I think that's a decent turnaround. And that's the reality of it. We win tomorrow, we've got 7 from 9 the last 3 games. That isn't, I know we're champions and all that, I get it, but the situation we're in at the moment, if you had told me before these 3 games we're going to get 7 points out of 9, I probably would have taken that, given the form we've been in. So it can go either way. But I think if we do beat Leeds tomorrow, you look at the last 3 games, you think 7 from 9, we take that. And we might even get up to 5th maybe tomorrow, depending on the other results. So yeah, it's very tight in the table at the moment. I think that's what's saving Slot as well, is how tight it is from where we are up to 4th at the moment. I think that's what's saving him as well. There isn't a massive gap, is there, at the moment?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Yeah, real well point. So I'm going to go to you, Ben. So we haven't got much time to wrap the stream up. So quickly, from your perspective as well, a team, what you would start, and your score prediction.
I'd go with Alisson, Ramsey, Gomez, Virgil, Robbo, Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, midfield, Chiesa on the right, Chiesa on the left, Salah on the right, and then Ekitike up front. That'd be my team. I don't think we're going to win, even if we start Chiesa, because Chiesa can't do everything. He's good, but he's not God at the end of the day. And I just don't think this team is got the confidence or the momentum to go to a raucous Ellen Road and win. I mean, like Stephen said, they've got confidence now. They've got momentum. They just beat the world champions. And Leeds are a much better physical team. They're going to dominate the duels. And if McAllister starts, then we've got no chance. And if Gakpo starts, even less of a chance. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 3. I'm going to go with a 3-0 Leeds win.
Okay,
sorry,
thanks,
I was
Ben.
just going to say really quickly. I think Leeds beating I think them beating Chelsea was a worse result for us than us drawing to Sunderland.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to say that.
I want to come to you, Craig. But wow, Ben, talk about being depressed. Let's 3-0. Where's the rope, mate? But that's as bad as it gets. Craig, I'll be interested to hear your team.
Hello.
And your prediction. We lost you for about half an hour. Did you go on a wander or anything, something like that? Was it tea time?
Mother Nature kicked in, so I had to take a toilet break. Anyhow, we need to clip that last clip where Ben called Chelsea the world champions. Oh my God. This is like the NFL where they say world champions, baby, and there's only the Americans play American football, and they call themselves world champions. Come on, Ben. Get a permit. Come on. Anyhow, Leeds United. I'm dreading this tomorrow. I'm absolutely dreading it because, I mean, listen, I grew up watching probably one of the greatest teams English football seen, Leeds United, Dirty Leeds, as you called them earlier on. They were hell of a team, and I've got an awful feeling tomorrow that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to score against us. As an ex, you know what happens when an ex-player comes up against an ex-former Evertonian comes up against us. My team for tomorrow, and the thing is, Leeds have lost 4 out of the last 5, and we've only, we've lost 3 out of the last 5. A win, 3 defeats, and then a win again. So I think my team for tomorrow, Alisson Becker's going to start in goal. He's not going to put Mummy Dashvili in. He's not going to put Mama back in. And then I've got at right back, I've got Joe Gomez. And then I've got the twerker himself, Lady Gaga Van Dijk. And then I've got my head's gone Canate because he doesn't know what he's doing at the minute. I mean, Cinderella's playing at right back, so you can't cover 2 positions, unfortunately. And then in midfield, I've got Curtis Jones, Ryan Gravenberch, who's dropped off a little bit as well for me for some strange reason. He's not playing as well as he can, but maybe with how we're playing, it's affecting everybody. And then I've got Dominic Szoboszlai alongside Ryan Gravenberch, and then I've got Federico Chiesa on the right, Florian Wirtz in the middle, and then up front I've got Hugo Ekitike. You can't start Isak. He's not match fit. And at Ellen Road, I tell you what, there's 2 things. There's 2 things what could happen tomorrow. We either stand up and show what we're made of, or we shrink. And I agree with Ben, and I agree with Stephen. I think we'll get beat tomorrow. We will concede. I think we'll score, but I think we'll lose 2-1. And I agree with you, Adji. I don't like the sound of it, but I think it could be Arne Slot's last game in charge at Liverpool. But I've seen, before you hand it over to Harold, there's 2 types of Liverpool fan. You've got your social media fan, who's an absolute nightmare and a pain in the arse. And then you've got your match-going fan, who see things completely different. So I just think we're in a bad place at the minute. it's like trying to turn an oil tank around.
Sorry, Craig, I have to push on because we're going to get told off by Stephen, but no, real good points. Before I go to Harold, as you call him, but what I'll say is actually the match going fan, a lot of them are not screaming Slot out, but a lot of them are saying that they're saying that he can't turn it around. So I think a lot of the match going fan are now thinking he's going to go. But Aldred, just from your perspective, the team who you would play and what the score prediction is going to be.
Well, we all want him to do a lot of changes, but he's not going to do that if he feels this is his last game. So we can just scratch that. I want to start with Alisson, Georgie, Mamadou, or Pesce in goal, all three. 5. I'm just kidding. It's going to be Alisson Becker in goal, of course. I think it's not going to do too much drastically in the defense, even though we all agree that something should be done. But he's not going to throw in Endo and players who haven't touched the ball in 3 months to save his job. It's not going to happen. So I think it's going to be Gomez, Konate, Lady Virgil, and Kirkis on the left. In the midfield, I would like to see Dominic, Gravenberch, and Wirtz. And on the top three, whatever you other guys say, I want Chiesa on one side, I want Hugo on the other side, and I want Isak in the middle. And I'm going to tell you very shortly why. You see the goal he scored in the last game? I don't care if you have 1 touch in the box or 200 touch in the box. It's what you do with the touches you get. The way he finished that clinically, we have Hugo Ekitike who shoots everywhere now. We've had Darwin Núñez who shot everywhere. I would rather have a so-called stationary target man, or whatever you want to call it, who gets the ball once and scores on that one, instead of having a run-around bunny rabbit from Duracell who gets 15 shots and nowhere near the goal. It's the results that matter when it comes to this situation, especially. So I would have him in the middle with 2 guys running around like bunny rabbits, giving him the ball and an option to score. Thank you.
No, I do agree with you. I agree with you on Isak. But from my side, the team I'd have, there's a famous song that goes around. You know, if we had a team full of Carragers, so if we had a team full of Gakpos, we'd be in non-league by now. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. I hate the bloke, and not that you can tell, he should be nowhere near the match day squad. I don't care who we play. Minus Gakpo, we stand a chance. I think the defence stays the same. Maka for Jones, Wirtz, Isak, and Ekitike. Away we go. And let's see what happens. I still think we will. I'm going to say we're going to win because I said we'd win all 3 games.
Just one thing, you know the next game we play.
Yeah.
I was thinking of this today because of our current form and the way we're playing. What we should do is instead of coming out to and never walk along, just for one game only, we should come out to madness. You're an embarrassment.
No, I think that wouldn't work, but I think that's a good analogy. But yeah, listen, guys, it's been an absolutely wonderful stream, guys. It's even though we're going through bad form, we're in the doldrums. It's picked me up. It's nice having you guys on. I think I think it was Stephen who said it. I think it's going to be a strange season. I think if Slot stays in charge or doesn't, I think we're going to make the top 4 because I think everybody but Arsenal are shite. We're only 6 points off Man City, and I think they've got the best player in the world at the moment, Haaland. So I think I think we'll make the top 5 anyway. But let's see. Let's see what Saturday's pod's going to be like post Leeds. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for listening. We'll see you soon and have a great weekend. Up the Reds.
Bye-bye.